Pro Bowler loosening up. Evan Washburn with you again alongside Ryan Mink with you for about and we can't show that. So Ryan Mink, we were out here for all of day one, watched some of the team periods, broad strokes.
Okay, we back. We back.
I think just the excitement level. I mean, you could tell how amped up these
chat
guys
box
were
up.
to be in a real training camp padded practice. I mean, for 90 minutes yesterday, it really felt like normal. And that's really a change given all the COVID offseason and everything that's been going on in everybody's lives and these players' lives.
Working with. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
The masks come off. You know, they can get as close as they want to their teammates. They can play real football. You know, not a game, but as close to it as we can come. I think it was just a relief for everybody after all that we've gone through this offseason to really feel like, hey, this is training camp. This is what we felt in years past.
Absolutely. The energy yesterday and even early today as you
we
see
up,
the players
running.
working through the morning. A lot of discussions, a lot of laughter, and then it gets serious and competitive. As we mentioned yesterday, this show is about you, the fans, and giving you a sense of what's happening here. But we want it to be interactive. So head to Facebook.
Okay, we good.
Enter your questions into the comment section, and we'll
What
get
up,
to
Pete?
those questions later in the show. Also, on Twitter, the poll question is up. You get to produce portions of the show, and today the question is, what Pro Bowler do you want us to focus on during the individual drills? And as you can see, the options: Mark Ingram, Mark Andrews, Marlon Humphrey, and Ronnie Stanley. And Ryan Mink, Marlon Humphrey edging out Mark Andrews and Mark Ingram. A D guy getting the
Got the
love early on the
DBs.
poll.
Well, I guess some things never change, right?
And Mark Ingram.
Defense, so Marlon Humphrey's an entertaining guy. I like it.
I'm sure if we told Mark Ingram right there that he was falling behind in the polls, he'd have something.
What up, Jay Will?
Because no doubt he's a fan favorite.
Hey, we gonna do. I'm just chit chat a little bit about what we see on the screen. That's all.
Stretching, such a critical part of the pre-practice
Nothing
regime
fancy.
Because yesterday
Just a
was
little
as
chit chat.
physical as probably they've been in 7 months, and we're gonna get to some news.
How y'all doing on this beautiful, it's beautiful morning here, and it's hot already.
But Ryan, you've been around these training camps as have I.
Jamal, I'm gonna tell you who looked big in pads. Gus Edwards. Did you see Gus Edwards yesterday? That's who looks big in pads. Gus the
Yeah,
Bus.
for sure. I think that
Turn this around a little bit.
is unique because, like you said, this is really the first action that
There
they've
we
had.
go.
Now, they had a ramp-up period, and that helped somewhat.
There we go.
But I'm sure after the
I really wish I could have saw 1 or 2 reps of team yesterday, but I understand they can't show that,
I wouldn't say we're in the
you know,
dog days yet. It feels like
for
way too nice out here.
whatever
For the
purposes.
dog days.
But I was going through YouTube. Let me turn this down a little bit while they talking about nothing. Going through YouTube, and I saw a lot of different teams had 45 minutes, hour and a half streams up, and we got a hot 30 minutes yesterday. I'm expecting to get the same thing, and we just gonna talk about what we see on the screen. We're gonna take out 30 minutes and run with it. It's better than 0. A lot better than 0. So let me turn it back up and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, they'll be taking some days off, I'm sure. Brandon, though, he was funny, you know, because he said, I can't wait to get to these padded practices because I've been hearing some talk about these young players, and I want to see what they got. So yesterday when he wasn't there, I was like, oh, man, Brandon's not going to see. But now back,
Yeah, he
that's
didn't
good.
practice yesterday.
And Mink, that's the maybe the smart work here by a vet, Brandon Williams. Let these rookies get out all that energy day 1, and he takes advantage on day 2. I mentioned it. Now we're back on camera. That means we're going to go to an install period here on the field. So we won't be showing you that, but it's a good time to get to some news because we did learn some things yesterday from the press conferences, specifically John Harbaugh's on the injury front. And we start with Amon Marshall and Chris Moore, Ryan. A serious injury for Amon Marshall, a knee injury.
I hate that for Marshall.
And Chris Moore, a key part of special teams.
Man, they almost look alike.
For depth, dealing with a broken hand.
Yeah, well, you really feel for Amon. I mean, here's a guy who played 3 games last year as a rookie because of a hamstring injury suffered early.
I could insert a joke right here with Chris Moore and his broken hand, but I'm not. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be all
Really a
positive.
tough start to his young career.
But when I saw a broken hand,
pick out of USC that I really liked.
Jokes popped up in my head.
Just a physical kind of player. And he had a chance to compete for a roster spot in this.
Not gonna do it, though.
crowded
Not gonna do
secondary,
it.
But you really feel for him because it's a setback for him early. But you know, he'll have time to come back in his third season, so we'll be looking out for that. Then Chris Moore, you know, a broken.
That's a
broken
good way to look at it,
second straight year
Marshall.
that's happened to him.
It's a good way to look
Probably
at it.
knocks him out for several weeks. And,
Stay positive,
you know, that
buddy.
makes things a little
Stay
trickier
positive,
back
get well
into the
soon.
Wide receiver depth chart. Can somebody like Jaleel Scott swoop in and take a
Oh, most
roster spot
definitely.
there?
Most definitely.
Two injuries, neither
Chris
of
Moore
these
probably
starters,
one of the
but
best gunners in the league.
Serious injuries and something to watch out
Probably one of the best
for
gunners in
new
the
role
league.
players.
And Ryan, let's acknowledge Imam Marshall's tweet here from yesterday. Can't dwell on what already happened, just have to keep pushing with God and faith by my side. So positivity from Imam Marshall, and we're thinking of him. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. There were some big plays made out on the field here yesterday after we got off the air, so let's show you
Yeah, that
some
worked.
of those.
Good
And we
work.
have
Take
to
that.
start with
Lamar.
Jackson. It's our top play presented by Oakley. Ryan, a deep ball, which I know is a big storyline.
I know somebody
Will
said
Smith.
something yesterday about
Yeah.
Willie Snead's
This is
slow
gonna be
self.
talked about a lot this season because
He got behind somebody, though.
Wants to really air it out. And, you know,
Who is
all
that? I
the
can't
chatter
tell who them
all
DBs
season
are.
was, what's the next step for Lamar Jackson?
That's what I wanted to
You know,
see,
after
who he
coming
got
off an
behind.
MVP season, an unreal season like he has. What more can you do? That's the question. And Lamar, you know, is specifically pointed to that deep ball. He thinks that if he can hit those with more consistency, then this offense takes another step because he
Most
was
definitely.
so good over the middle of the field, intermediate passing, those kind of things, and obviously the running game. But if he can stretch defenses more vertically, that opens
Avery.
everything else up for this offense. So you saw yesterday, even if Lamar had to hold the ball just a half a second longer
Forward.
to look deep, he was willing to do so. And let's not forget the connection to Hollywood Brown. That connection is one to look out for this year. There it is right on screen.
Yeah, those two, no doubt.
Juice Man got beat.
A chemistry that goes beyond just a few years here in Baltimore.
That ain't gonna happen a lot, though.
In there as well. But yesterday,
It is.
we really focused
I wasn't gonna say it was ugly.
on the
Cause I was like,
rookies. And the top two
yeah,
was Patrick
but they get what they need to be.
J.K. Dobbins. And
They
Patrick
get what they
Queen
need to be.
immediately making an impact here, attacking the sled.
But the one thing
But
Avery
Lamar
has that
drills
a lot of them
every training
guys,
camp, the
well,
individual
I ain't gonna say they don't
linebackers,
have.
running backs,
Avery is
Queen
fast as
attacking
you know
J.K.
what.
Dobbins. Here's Gus Edwards.
Super fast.
But Patrick Queen, despite the fact that he may have poked some fun at his doubters on social media,
Okay,
made
Queen.
immediate impact
Brought that wood to Dobbins.
Mills yesterday, Ron.
Yeah, well, it's one of your favorite drills. to
But if
watch.
you go back and look at
Running
my
backs,
Dobbins
one of his
tape
favorite drills.
from Ohio State, he does throw his
Especially
nose in there and
Patrick
try to
Queen
block.
does it. So yeah, I mean, life is all about first.
I see you
impressions,
coming
right?
through that,
Patrick
Queen.
In the first team drills, knifed through the line and made a tackle in the backfield for the first tackle of padded training camp. So that's a good first.
We don't
impression
doubt you, buddy.
for Patrick Queen. I mean,
Get in
he's
there.
an athletic guy out of LSU who's going to go 100 miles per hour at all times. And like I said yesterday, it's okay if he makes some mistakes. That's going to happen. That's what happens when a rookie is plugged into the middle of your defense week one. But I think we see that he has the athleticism to make some plays in this defense, and
Yeah.
that really.
And if you
kinda
haven't
pops,
seen my
even in
Patrick
that
Queen
first
video,
practice,
go check that one
how
out
well
too.
he moves.
I think I did two on
Yeah,
Patrick
no doubt.
Queen.
And there's the tweet, doubt me, from Patrick Queen. And our friend Pete Gilbert from WBL saying, nah, I watch practice. Well said. Pete Gilbert actually being efficient with his words there. Well done, Pete. We're just getting rolling here on Training Camp Live presented by Xfinity. Again, they're in some installs
Hey,
right now.
who
We're
are
gonna
you
get
guys
some
expecting
individual
to
drills here
take
out of
the next big
break.
jump
We've also
for the Ravens?
got a real treat here in show number 2.
Who are you guys
Lamar
expecting to
Jackson
take the
was
next
wired
big jump
yesterday.
for the
We'll
Ravens?
show you some of
See,
that.
they go
Stay
to
with
one of
us
these
here on
commercials.
Training
Let me.
Camp
I want to show these commercials. Let me mute that. Mute that commercial. Go there. Don't want to show it. All right. All these invited. Oh, I forgot I'm on. I can't be singing Gucci Mane while we on live. Pop my chat out so I can see it. I won't have to keep looking at my phone. I was trying to do too much this morning. There we go. Now I can go back to where. Now I got my chat out. Now I don't have to stare at my phone. When I was looking down, I was looking at my phone trying to look at you guys in the chat box. But now I snuck it in during this commercial break. And we just wait to come back from commercial. What up, everybody in the chat box? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Got my coffee rolling, and it's about empty. This is the last sip. Gotta have a productive day. Hey, Justice Hill got a fight on his hands. He got a fight on his hands. Okay, look like we back.
Taking extra precautions so you can trust us to treat you safely. Visit MedStar Health.
Any wide receiver. Yeah.
Safe to learn more.
Prob-
MedStar Health.
I don't think Hollywood got to take a big jump. Hollywood just needs to be what he was last year. You know, obviously improve a little bit, but another receiver needs like Boykin. That's who Jamal. I think it's Jamal. Jamil said it. Boykin. That's who I agree with. Boykin. Chuck Clark. I think Chuck Clark's gonna be in for about a 2. Cause I don't. And I talked about it with IvanEvans and other guys. I don't necessarily like Chuck Clark as just a safety, but Chuck Clark being a hybrid. It's gonna be good, but then you got two young guys that can kind of do what Chuck Clark did physically. I don't know if they can do it mentally, but physically they can do what Chuck Clark did, probably better. I don't know how Elliott can better get on the field,
absolutely.
Antonio.
This defensive line has been totally transformed.
It's gonna be tough for him to get on the field. You're looking at Lamar. I mean not Lamar. You're looking at Marlon.
Obviously,
Juice Man, Tavon back, Earl back, Chuck Clark.
Among defensive linemen in the league. You know, it's funny. He was
where he gonna get on the field? Jimmy. I forgot about Jimmy.
Jimmy Smith. And
It's gonna be tough for Deshaun Elliott to get on the field.
I think Jimmy Smith is
Tough.
really kind of slimmed down a little bit. He looks a little smaller. And then I was like, oh wait, you know, it's just in comparison to Calais Campbell. It's everybody's on a sliding
I'm
scale
so glad
now.
you brought that up. And Jimmy Smith's about 6'2", 6'3". I
Yeah,
mean, he's known
he's a
for
big
his
dude.
length. I thought it was they signed a new slot corner.
How
that
big
was
Campbell
gonna
is.
reduce dudes.
Campbell's
Exactly.
huge.
You have to judge everybody on a scale now when Calais is around it. The rest of your team just looks smaller. But I mean, yeah, with his arrival and then also Derek Wolfe, I think the Ravens have 2.
Charlie, I don't think he had to have a monster year. He just need to be solid. He need to do his job.
Defensive line can really
solid. Do his job.
against the run, which was an area, a little bit of weakness in some games last year, and just get after pass rushers. I mean, Wink Martindale last year blitzed more than any other defensive coordinator in the league, and it wasn't really close. And he brought pressure from every single angle. That's not going to change.
Well, let's go. Bounce around. Bounce around. Bounce
He
around.
likes to bring pressure.
Bounce around.
But now
Bounce
with
around.
those guys up front, I think he can do a little bit less of that, drop a little bit more into coverage.
Bounce around.
And I think that obviously you're going to win more one-on-one battles up front. More guys are going to come clean to that quarterback, so it makes a big difference. I think there's a ripple effect from bringing Calais Campbell.
I know I'm
and
just
Derek Wolfe onto
the
this team defensive line.
low-level coach guy, but I don't like that walking on the football field. When you go from drill to drill, you need to at least give me a fake jog or something.
Just one of the most respected defensive
A walking
coaches
crap for the
around
birds.
league, and just one of the great personalities and an energizing factor on this coaching staff, and he
Okay.
gets that defensive line.
Hey, it's fine to be a homer. It's always fine to be a homer. I'm always root for my Mississippi people coming out the draft and in college too. So it's fine to be a homer. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Especially if you got some kind of personal connection with people. Yeah, Mac had to go. Did you see those athletic bodies? Mac wasn't an athletic body. When they showed the D lineman, did you see those athletic bodies? But the only non-athletic body that was over there was B. Will, and B. Will just a monster run stopper.
Through these early portion of the padded practices, which I think for the offensive line are as critical as any position group to just gain chemistry.
Come on, Tyree. Let's see what kind of feet you got, Tyree.
Really only about 14 practices, 17 to 20 days, 25 days until week 1.
Yeah,
Thumbs
sure.
up.
I mean, the loss of Marshall Yanda, obviously, that's an enormous loss for this offensive line. It was funny. I was talking to Matt Skura a month ago for our podcast, The Lounge, and he said even when he filled in for Marshall, when Marshall suffered that, I think it was an broken ankle injury a couple years ago, and he said it was funny. You'd be watching film and you could do a backflip and then block somebody, and they'd be like, "Well, you know,
Yep.
Marshall
Huge
did
difference.
a double back."
Huge difference.
You know, so nobody
And
has
the
a
only guy we need not to be like a space eater is the nose
Somebody's gonna
tackle.
play right guard week 1.
Exactly.
you got Wolf
can't
in
just
there.
Go without a right guard. So I think that DJ Fluker yesterday, my first impressions is obviously physically he's huge. And then second, I mean, I saw him with some pretty nice one-on-one blocks, one on the rookie Justin Madubuike. So I think that DJ Fluker fits what the Ravens want to do really well.
He nasty.
Power,
I'm telling you, he's
downfield
nasty.
blocker. I mean, you talk about size and physicality. You put him next to Orlando Brown.
Exactly. Him and Orlando side by
I feel bad
side.
for defensive line
That's
lining up on that side of the field. So Here's an experienced guy. He's worked with Joe D'Alessandris before. I think that he has to just get comfortable with this Ravens scheme and all that this is going to be asked of him, whether it's, pooling and different things in this scheme, because we all know that Greg Roman is very dynamic.
Think about it.
In his run game. So if he can get up to speed,
Yana didn't pull a lot last year.
Good shot to be the week 1 starter.
Yana didn't pull a lot
there's
last year.
competition,
Bozeman did a lot of pulling. Yana did a lot of down blocking and a lot of fan blocks.
Bradley Bozeman did last year. The Ravens
And like double teaming to the second level.
Mid-round offensive linemen. How many have we seen? Rick Wagner, back in the day. We've seen them.
I don't expect
really
Fluker to be
guys
younger,
with
but I expect
starters.
Fluker to be the nasty Fluker
Then you have
from
a couple of rookies in Tyree Phillips,
Alabama.
kind of big, physical, a little bit more of a raw guy out of Mississippi State, but he's
There
got
you go,
all
Tyree.
the potential in the world. And Ben
Good
Bredesen,
feet.
who's just a no-nonsense, physical guy out of Michigan. So there's a lot of
Be
talent
violent,
that's
Wolf.
gonna cycle through that right guard position, and may the best man win.
We call it Nat Sound in the business, Ryan, and you're a good talker.
There we go.
But it's time for us
Juicy
to
got some good feet.
listen to these large men attack this sled, because these are training camp sights and sounds. We'll give this about 10, 15, 20 seconds.
That's it. There we go. Consistency.
I mean, if you try to walk up to
Consistency. We
that
talked
thing
about
right
consistency
now
in that
and
series
lift it
with
by half,
Ryan
its
Stanley.
actual,
Consistency.
length there, Ryan, we would fall down, and those dudes just tossed it to the side. So again, that's one of the staples of training camp. That sound of the sled.
That's honestly what I was thinking too. I was like, if I hit
And
that thing, it sounds.
for those that don't know, that sled not
You
light.
can hear a pin drop, when I hit the
That
I
sled.
think
sled
the
is
sound
not
would be
light.
hitting the ground. So as we shift
For those
to,
that hadn't played football
the
and
every hour,
think
there's
it's just a
Lamar
pad,
Jackson.
that thing
Mr.
is
Robert
heavy.
Griffin III.
You got to
Got
hit it
some
with a lot of
work in.
force
We
to get it to
showed
pop
the
up like
highlights,
that.
Ryan, but as you charted and worked
Yeah,
through
most
yesterday's
definitely.
practice,
Wolf, Campbell,
as Lamar
add
enters year
Judon.
3 here,
Hopefully
I
Bowser
think
take the next
beyond
step.
deep ball and beyond the numbers and matching everything that made up 2019, the word I keep going back
Except
to
for
is
Gus.
command and comfort. Actually, that's
Gus
the
can't get
word.
lost behind our line. I'm
I
just
really
amazed at how Gus
sense
looked
that
yesterday.
from watching him practice and his approach, and despite not having OTAs,
Big Reg know about them sleds. Them shit's heavy, man.
Infrastructure, but most importantly, with what they want to do offensively.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
heavy.
for sure.
What up, Melvin?
He's always been a guy that has a lot of fun playing this game, and you could see that yesterday. I mean, when we had him mic'd up, he's joking the whole time and pointing to defenders that he basically broke their ankles on long runs. And the guy, he's dancing around throughout the whole practice. He's always having fun, but I agree with you. I think just his comfort level in this offense. Last year, it being his first year as a
them
starter,
sleds,
there
you
was
got
a
you
lot
got
on
to
his
pop them
shoulders, and
things
there's
and
still, make no doubt about that. But he had a full offseason to really
just know
dig
them
into this thing,
they
kind of look at how
they are
he's
physical
beating
too,
defenses, and
even though they
it's another year
stationary.
under your belt. You have to remember
Even though they
how young
stationary,
Lamar
they're a
Jackson
good
is.
practice tool to
23.
use.
This is a young.
They're not gonna hit back or move like a person, but they heavy.
Kind of scratch the surface of what he
And if
can
you
be
and you can be
long-term.
strong as
And
all
what
get
we've
out.
seen is
If
really
you don't know the
awesome.
technique to doing
So
it, you won't
see
move it.
him and his teammates just love him. I thought it was funny.
My thoughts on
He was
Dez
talking about
Bryant.
Judon. I asked him. I said, "How does it feel out there on the field knowing
I'm not
hey, you're the franchise player? You're the
overjoyed
franchise tag
about
player.
it.
You got that tag, and what does that
If he
feel
could come
like
in
on
and
your
help,
shoulders?" He said, "Yeah, I got
that,
the franchise
you know,
tag."
I'm
I'm not the
cool with it with him
franchise
being
player
a
of this team. We all
with him
know
being a,
who the franchise is, and that's Lamar Jackson. So
experienced
you definitely
receiver.
See that, and just his teammates kind of they always want to be around him because he's a
But
fun guy and he's so confident.
if he do, fine. If he don't,
knows
fine.
what he's
Honestly,
doing out there.
There's an
I still
urgency to
gotta.
what Lamar Jackson and this
I have a
entire
preference.
offense and this team
I have my
are
preference
bringing to
for
this
a
training camp
receiver
here,
that's
day
available.
2 of
But
the
a lot of
phase
people
3, the padded
still speaking negative
practices.
of him,
And we mentioned
and he
Lamar
he
Jackson
rightly
had a
so.
wire
He
on
deserves
for
his
us yesterday.
negativity.
You'll enjoy
Let
some
me
of those sights and
cut this
sounds
off.
coming
Hold on.
up after the break here on training camp.
And the guy I'm speaking of has negative stuff with him, baggage with him, and he's probably gonna be suspended for 8 games. Whoever signs him. But the difference between the guy I'm speaking of and Dez Bryant is the guy I'm speaking of was top 5 wide receiver last time he played. Dez was not. Both of them have issues. I'd rather have issues with a top 5 guy than issues with a middle of the road receiver that can't really get open. And even when Dez was healthy, the Cowboy fans will tell you, Dez wasn't getting open. Dez was just able to out physical people. So the other guy that I speak of that I ain't called his name yet, he gets open. He gets wide open. So, I mean, if Dez comes, it's fine. You know, I ain't gonna hate on it. But in my personal opinion, that other guy that I didn't call his name would be if I took a chance on somebody, it'd be him. And yeah, I know he suspended 8 games or whatever, but we need him in January. That's when we need him. Exactly. Like, cause see, I know this is a Ravens channel, but let's talk about the Cowboys for a second. Cause everybody watch the Cowboys because they always on TV. So Dez had success with Romo because Romo was extremely accurate. He could pinpoint the ball, and he just was extremely accurate. Dak came in. Dak was more of an athlete and probably more of a winner, but he wasn't as accurate as Tony. And so then when you have a less accurate QB and the receiver never was getting open anyway, it's going to go down for you. It's going to go down. Now, yeah, that was some around the red zone. Yeah, it was toss it up and told him to go get it. Yeah, but in like normal situations, Dez wasn't getting open.
You know, it's a different kind of conversation.
Dez just made contested catches.
Get these interviews and their 5-minute interviews or conference calls.
And speak to any Cowboys fan with
We like to have some fun with the player.
with
Better as a person, not just a player.
with sane NFL
I
knowledge.
think I came up with that, but it's really
Sane NFL knowledge.
It really paints a picture.
And they'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you the truth. Matter of fact, let me text the Cowboy fan I know and see if I can get him over here to our channel to talk about it. He probably asleep. He probably gonna curse me out.
On Facebook, in the comment section, you pose your questions and we will do our best to answer them. And first up, from Lisa Frankel. Hi everyone. How do you think, or who do you think has the shot of being the Ravens Rookie of the Year and why? So basically,
Rookie of the Year, I answer that. J.K. Dobbins.
Undrafted guys, Ryan. Who's up front of mind?
J.K. Dobbins.
I got to point to Patrick Queen. I mean, he's going to be in that starting position, I think.
J.K. Dobbins rushing for 700 yards. Write it down. Right, Reg. Dak wasn't finna throw just all them jump balls and trust you to get it. Nope. I agree with you 100%. Oh, he said he was just here. And come back. I'm telling him come back.
I would not be surprised if this defense, it could be #1 in the league, and I don't think that's really looking through two rose-colored glasses. That's not too optimistic. It could definitely be #1. And if Patrick Queen is a big reason for that, he gets some sacks.
Hey, look here. So he back. There you go, right there. We have a question for you. We got a question for you. Somebody just asked me about Dez Bryant, Vach. Can you give us what, you know, just give us your thoughts on what Dez Bryant is right now and why y'all let him go. That's what we were just talking about, Dez Bryant.
By the additions they made in free agency, and you would think through the draft with a guy like Patrick Queen. So here we see the defensive line working through their individual groups in the Twitter poll, and Marlon Humphrey able to hold on, edging out Mark Andrews and Mark Ingram, and look, Ronnie Stanley.
That's the floor for JK. Well, it's 4 other guys back there. 3 other guys back there.
So here's a chance to look.
3 other guys back there.
Who's now a Pro Bowler and considered one of the best cover corners in the league. To attack the ball as a tackler, not just coverage. When that guy's got the ball.
That's crazy.
So many critical forces.
That man crazy. He wake up with it.
Now he enters this season along with the rest of that secondary as really.
But your timing impeccable, Vach. I mean, we was just talking about that.
Can you prove to be one of the elite corners in the NFL?
Just talking about that.
I mean, he's kind of like a linebacker playing corner. The way he attacks ball carriers and wide receivers, obviously has all the speed and athleticism to hang with any.
Backpedal so graceful.
So here's a player
and a lit turn.
Who's really just becoming.
And it's funny. We take that for granted because NFL guys do it for like a Nigel Warrior. Nigel Warrior over Geno Stone in my book.
Alabama. He's used to winning.
Nigel Warrior over Geno Stone.
He went down to the Super Bowl last year. Was actually on the field.
Don't sleep on Warrior. Warrior's a battle-tested SEC safety.
All that and kind of how those players felt.
Battle-tested SEC safety.
From a training perspective, did some track workouts.
You don't see that type of competition in Iowa.
See, Evan, the rock pile at the quarry that he went up.
I went and looked at it.
You don't see that type of competition in Iowa.
Comment was made during the press conference, and it made me think just there's a show to either have been made or be made over the course of the next few months here, just what these guys were able to do in terms of home workouts. Look, they were able to at times get the private gyms or get equipment, but the creativity shown by Marlon Humphrey.
Hey, there it is right there.
To get that work in,
There it is.
was impressive.
So, so for people that want Dez and don't want AB, you got issues with both. You got issues with both. But when Dez got let go with the Cowboys, he was not top 5. AB was top 5 receiver, and I'd take my chances with AB before Dez. But if Dez come fine, so be it. But if you ask my opinion, go get me Alpha Beta. Alpha Beta can come on this team right now and strike fear in opposing DBs, like in the other conference. I mean, in our conference. You add AB to this team, and now you have just a good 1-2 punch as Landry and Beckham. Now, if you out of those 4, Beckham was probably the best. But then I would go Beckham, AB, Hollywood, Landry. So you add Dez to that, then we not in that equation. But add AB to that, it's different.
So Ryan, I would pivot to you and say, do they need to address the depth, or is the depth provided via who they
Yeah,
have?
that's a good point. And Steve didn't really change his demeanor when he came to Baltimore. They just was able to handle it. Because you had a Ray Lewis, you had an Ed Reed. No, Steve played after those guys, I think. Yeah, Steve played after them guys. So Steve might have came in and been the alpha. That's what that was. Steve might have came in and been the alpha. But AJ Green, who is his Robin? Jamil? Who's AJ Green's Robin? I know they got John Ross, but you know he got to produce before we can make him a Robin. Dez didn't produce. I mean, not Dez. Odell produced. Landry produced. Hollywood produced his rookie year. AB produced. I agree, Reg. AB playing 8 games can probably come in and get you 30 catches, and Dez probably gonna get you but 40 and 16. Man, come on with the Tyler Boyd, man. Boyd's okay. He ain't no beast though. He might have had some beastly games against us because we can't cover nobody in the Bengals. But still, Boyd not a certified beast. My boy Prochet.
The wide receivers, James Prochet.
My boy Prochet.
Him out of the gate here. First guy on the
Nah, I forgot about T. But he still got to produce first before we can put him in them categories. Got to produce first before we put him in them categories.
Made a difference, made some impact in practice, and Miles Boykin.
Oh, Miles.
Drop here as we move to the wide receiver group. But the headliner has to be Marquise Brown, Ryan, just based off the offseason, the fact that he's healthy.
For those,
Talk of a lot of guys within that
yeah, Dez would be a big slot guy. He would be a small tight end for us. He could be our third tight end. Dez could be our third tight end. Who throwing Miles Boykin the ball? My God.
Yeah, very interesting reports. I mean, let's first look at the guys that we have here right now. I mean, it's an unproven group.
Don't show me no more reps of Boykin.
4 of those players that we're seeing on screen there are second-year players. And really, Marquise Brown is the only one who got a lot of runs.
Ooh, that's a young group right there.
He played a fair amount, but he wasn't.
That's a young group right there.
So Marquise Brown is, I think, going to become a very good.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, Deuce. I said it yesterday when Iman announced he got hurt. Somebody call Brandon Carr, bring him back.
This offseason has been incredible. Last year when he came in as a rookie, I think anybody would tell you lay eyes on him, you're like,
Keyword lunch take. I mean lunch break hot take. The keyword. Somebody said, I don't know if it was you. Somebody said beast. That's what I'm. Not beast. Not beast.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Hey, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Cause you know by this time at 8:30, we be through with workouts. But you know, we was the early birds. 6 to 8, we be through. We get it in and get it out of there. 6 to 8. That's just like I just put you back in old high school terms. Workouts be that if you ain't in line at 6, go home. 6:01, go home. The funny thing about that is, and Fox, I don't know if you was still there. You might have been gone by then. The superintendent's son played football, and he rolled up in there like 6:03, and we sent him home. The superintendent came in there mad, like, "Why y'all sending my son home?" Such. He late. Bye. You know, he late. You brought him. You made him late. See y'all later.
So he's going to get his opportunities, but like you mentioned, there's reports out there about Des Bryant bringing in a veteran who could.
Let me turn this up a little bit. See what they talking about. Sometimes they talk about good stuff. Sometimes they don't. Prochet ain't dropped the ball yet that I saw.
Devin Duvernay. I mean, he's
Snead did lose some weight. He said it in an interview. He lost some weight.
He should be factored into the discussion.
Hey, did y'all see the picture I put on Instagram of Antoine Wesley making that catch? That was a fire picture, boy. Oh, he ain't had no privilege fight. We sent this, but to the crib. And I don't think he came back after that. I think that was the end of his football at NHS. Duvernay rocked up Joe Con.
There's a lot of excitement about what he can bring in the big play capability.
Show Gus. That for everybody that missed yesterday. Wait till you see Gus.
Absolutely.
Wait till you see Gus Ellis. And if he looked like that last year, why didn't he play versus the Titans? Gus looks like, I want to say Thor.
They can stretch that scene a little bit more.
Gus out there like, yeah, Gus looking like Thor.
It's really kind of, like I said at the top, stretch these defenses out a little bit more so they can't just focus.
That's a good
so
idea.
much on that
I might have to
run
invest in a
game,
little
stack the
cooler
box.
and
So
small water
Duvernay
bottles for
puts a little bit
when we
more of a
start.
scare into opposing defenses. And
And
here's
just throw them right in the
another
trash when or get a recycle bin or something. Throw them right in the trash. That's a good idea.
He had in college on one hand. So
Yeah, I think that's what Duvernay gonna be. Get him something quick, some quick throws, and then he turns into a running back.
Let's also not forget James Prochet. I mean, I know that his biggest competition right now is probably a punt returner, but you see him out here, first guy on the field.
Yeah,
I think
Brandon.
James Prochet he'll have some opportunities to make some plays on offense too. So Duvernay and Prochet, two rookies to keep an eye on for sure.
Before we jump over to that wide receiver crew, got a picture of the tight ends as well. I want to give a shout out. We saw the athletic trainers there giving some water. They're under unbelievable protocols
right.
in keeping everybody safe here. And one thing you can see there, Ryan, everyone gets individual bottled water there. No longer are you seeing everybody getting sprayed in the mouth.
You had to have more of a stutter to get open in the league, though.
Water bottles. Everybody's getting a little individual water bottle. So these are part of the new normals that will be training camp here in 2020. But we appreciate all the work they're doing.
If Prochet is the leader in punt return, what we doing with Kenyon Barnes? We just hoping he push him or something?
Some passes.
Having an option?
To some of these guys one drills here.
Ooh.
This is a fun one
Ooh.
with the linebackers.
This is a tough one
We'll
with the
stick
linebackers.
here and see how the coverage goes.
Ooh.
We know that getting speed at that inside linebacker
Don't do him
position,
like that, Justice.
is such a critical part of this defense. It's something they're hoping that they gain with Queen.
Well, if we can
That
get
was
the
Malik Harrison
backs
there
in
on
the
Justice
pass
Hill,
game.
So that's a good one because Malik Harrison.
Oh,
I think he's
lock him up.
Underrated
Is that a locker?
athleticism. I mean,
Who is that? Who's
the Ravens
49?
drafted him. People talked about, oh, well, here's
That's
your,
not a locker.
your perfect complementary piece of Patrick.
I don't know who 49 is.
downhill thumper. Well, let's not forget this is a
Oh.
former quarterback.
I got a paper right
so
here.
He's a guy who transferred positions at Ohio State, really became a linebacker. He's got a lot of athleticism to see him work.
Oh, it's Chris Board. Chris
It's
Board.
interesting. Justice Hill is a tough assignment, though. One-on-one out of the backfield. So
Come on, cameraman.
That's always an interesting drill. You know,
We ain't gonna get
it's
much
funny, Evan, you
one-on-one.
talk about
You
how
messing up the little
games
one-on-ones we
trainers
getting.
in the water. You know, reporters, we're used to stand there, and sometimes, you know, a pass sails over and it comes near your feet. Yesterday, one happened, and
Nurses are new
all the reporters corner.
New
definitely
DB. He
on
long.
PR staff
He
says,
went
"Don't
to
pick it up."
Utah as a
So
receiver.
used to just toss
Started
the
playing
ball back.
DB his
So
junior year, I
things are
think.
definitely a little bit different. As nice as it is to have football and that sense of normalcy, not completely normal.
No, not at all. But it gives these guys comfort, and that's what's most important.
Cameraman drunk
so
out
they
there.
can go out there and play free. As we look at Matthew Judon
You say it's
here,
72
working
in
against the
Baltimore.
heavy bags.
It's
and again,
let
it's
me
much
see.
like the sled. These guys make those pads look like the pillows that we throw around the bed. But those are some heavy,
81 here.
heavy pads. And this, to me, shows the
81.
athleticism required off the edge here. And a good
And it's
look
supposed
at
to
how
rain this
low they
afternoon.
can get those hips down. You think of guys like Judon, but I mean,
Give
the
me a
one
ride
name that
in
always comes to
before it
mind,
rains.
Von Miller, the bend that they have at their size and speed.
Yeah.
They got to pick up that
In the screen game and
Joe Cullen
wide receiver
and his
screens.
staff putting together a pretty cool drill
Right.
here.
And then that trees.
There's an interesting player there, Jihad Ward. He's somebody that we
That
probably
trees.
haven't talked
Hey, so
about.
Voch, with the Cowboys, what y'all getting? Just all talk?
Last season.
No
He's an
action?
interesting
Y'all getting all
player.
talk,
And
no
he
action?
can play with his hand in the dirt. He can stand up at times too. Physical, gritty player. Former second-round pick of the Indianapolis Colts. So
Hey, Ward,
he's
part of
a guy
that
I think is
quote-unquote
a
dream
key
team that came in and patched that defense
piece
up
of the
last year.
Defensive line that deserves a little bit more of attention. Just a worker. I mean, he can stuff the run. He'll probably put up 3 or 4 sacks. So I like Jihad Ward. He's a good quality player.
I'm glad you brought him up, Ryan, because he was somewhat lost in the shuffle of last year's work by Eric DeCosta and his group when they basically revamped that defense
I just said
on
that.
the fly after the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And,
I just said that.
Jihad Ward really provided some depth, but some impact plays there over the course of that stretch where this team didn't lose any games. And
Yeah,
that defense
6'5",
became
right.
one of the best in the NFL. And he's going to have his work
Hey, I'm gonna
cut
tell y'all
out for him,
something
too,
funny.
to continue
We all
to
talk
find
about how
snaps here
big
with
and
that
tall
group.
these guys
Here's
are.
J.K. Dobbins, and we mentioned
Think about
Patrick Queen out of the
LeBron
gate,
6'8".
impressing those that were watching that maybe don't know as much as the coaching staff.
We
but
in
can tell
awe of how
that
tall
football player
these
exists
people
on the
are, but
field.
LeBron
Here's
6'8".
a question that'll take us right there.
Where's Mega
from
Gus?
Facebook, again, the comment section is where you can place those questions. How do you envision the running backs splitting time? Will they have 4 active running backs
Mega Gus.
each week? This is something I mentioned to you yesterday, Ryan. I mean, you look at this group, it's Justice Hill there, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, and the Gus Bus is not pictured as he runs through the picture. How do they work this? How do you envision it on a
Cowboys getting. Oh, look at Gus back there.
situation?
Yeah,
Look at Gus back there.
4 active running backs at all. I mean, I think each guy fills a little bit.
If
of
this man don't get the ball,
and it obviously depends on special teams. I mean, you look at
Man,
Justin
look
Hill,
at
he
Gus.
might be your kick returner this
Oh, so
year.
y'all gonna let the rook
He
go
can play
first?
A variety of roles on special teams. Gus Edwards too.
Look at Gus.
Edwards is a big, physical, fast guy come down the field on special teams too.
letting the rook go first.
I think it's going to
Catch the damn ball, Lamar.
I would not be surprised if J.K. Dobbins ends up being the number 2 running back. I mean, we talked about Patrick Queen in the first impression with his quickness. Holy cow, J.K. Dobbins. The feet on this guy are incredible. I mean, everything he does just looks really fast, and I think the Ravens are going to be able to use him in a variety of roles, whether that's even if he splits out wide as a wide receiver.
Crack toss, I see it.
A bunch of different things.
Crack toss coming.
You just can't help but see some Ray Rice in him, and I don't think it's just the number 27 jersey. But looking at his game on the field, I mean, he just
I already got my 27.
He reminds you of Ray, who was an unbelievable playmaker. So J.K. Dobbins, he can get to that edge fast and with some power, and I think that he, among those 4 running backs in that rotation, they're going to give him a pretty good look.
Dobbins do like
Really
Zeke.
well put together
He
on
do.
top of that speed and burst and the ability to make people miss. Well, as they
Man,
now
Gus
shift
so
to
big, it's
speed,
crazy.
It's time to enjoy Lamar Jackson wired from day one.
Gus is
Had
huge.
Practices yesterday.
Let's check out Lamar. I ain't gonna talk about Lamar talking.
Let's go, y'all. Go, fellas. Go ball, fellas. Go. Good shot. Woo, he's back. I'm mic'd up too, fam. Yeah. Hey, I'm mic'd up. Let's get this dog today. Hey, Bob, what they do? You good, coach? Yes, I'm good, coach. Shot.
Let's see who 31 is.
Appreciate that, brother. on the out, when you broke out on him, he
Northern
pushed you.
Arizona.
That's why he throw it yet, you feel me? So I thought he was gonna try to undercut it. And then he stayed behind, then I threw it. Yeah, they like, I don't know why that's not flag. My God!
Damn, Judon.
I was touchdown, man. Hey, then I was dead though. I seen them running full speed. Hey, they running full speed.
Judon and Queen.
I said, oh yeah, y'all dead. Hey, I started laughing. I said, oh yeah, they dead. Cut me right back. I thought it was a touchdown, coach.
Yeah, Lamar can run.
I ain't gonna lie, I gotta start. I'm gonna break a lot of long positions.
He ain't lying though. Queen and
MVP on the field.
Queen and
that personality always puts a smile on your face.
Queen and Judon were wide open, trying to beat him to that spot. And he stopped on the dime and cut back.
The team now is in team period, so we will say goodbye for now. But coming up around
Hey man, that's all we get. And thank you, Vosh, for coming through and hanging out with us and answering our Dez Bryant questions. And I guess I can be appreciative because the Cowboys not getting what we got. I'll tell you how tall Gus is before we get up out of here.
So we'll be right back here about 9 a.m. Eastern for another edition.
Gus is 6'1". Gus 6'1". This say 6'1", but he looked like he's 6'12". Hey guys, I appreciate you, man, and see you when I see you. Peace. Go back to sleep, buddy.